Hello and welcome to episode 95 of the She Must Knit podcast. My name is Erin and thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. How have you guys been? I hope you had a nice 2 weeks. I actually did not intend for it to be 2 weeks between my last episode and now, but stuff just kept coming up. I think the Friday after the last episode, I was planning on recording, but there was a strike day at Avery School. The Ontario teachers are doing kind of rotating strikes. So she was home, so it just kind of wasn't convenient. Weekends aren't the best for me. Then I was going to do it on the Monday, and something came up. And then this past Tuesday and Wednesday, my aunt was over to help paint the baby's room, so that is all done. It's very exciting. And yesterday, there was a snow day. Well, schools were open, but the buses were canceled, and when buses are canceled, I just keep Avery home. So today the buses were canceled again, so Avery's home, but you know what, we just got to get this done. So she's upstairs playing in her room. It is a winter wonderland outside. I cannot believe how much snow has come down in the last 3 days or so. We were looking out on the deck this morning, and I think if Avery went out there, it would easily come up to her waist or higher. Yeah, it's a nice day to be inside and cozied up, and I will probably do some knitting later. But for now, we're going to sit down and we are going to talk about what I've been working on for the last 2 weeks. It's been a pretty productive 2 weeks. There have been some days where I've just been really tired, and we've just been joined by a Mr. T, but I have his blanket already on the sides here. So hopefully after he has a little wander and a little sniff of all the different things on the table, he will settle over on his blanket and we can proceed. But yeah, so it's been a pretty productive 2 weeks. I feel like I've gotten a fair bit of work done on my projects, but there have been some days here and there where I've just been really tired and haven't knit very much. I'm not sleeping well, but it's become kind of like the norm, and I feel like it's just prepping me for those newborn weeks where you just don't sleep, so it's fine. So what do I have for you today? Before I get into any of my projects, I am going to announce the winners of the Linger Here giveaway that I was going to do. I mentioned this 2 episodes ago, and I meant to do the draw last episode, but I just totally forgot. So we're going to do it today, and that just gave you some extra time to enter. So we're going to do that first, get that done. And then I have some finished projects. I have work on projects that you have seen previously. I have a new cast on, and then I'm going to talk about what I'm hoping to either get started on or to work on over the coming week or so. So we are going to start right off with the pattern giveaway. So I mentioned in episode 93 that I wanted to give away 2 copies of the pattern Linger Here by Stephanie Lotvin. I was testing that sweater. It's a beautiful sweater, but just because of circumstances, I just didn't finish it on time. I still really want to finish the sweater. It's such a pretty design. But I want to give away 2 patterns just to show some support to the pattern release. So of everyone who entered the draw expressing interest in the pattern, I drew 2 winners, and the 2 winners are Tammy Nichols and Donna Welch. I apologize for not putting your names on the screen, but something else that happened this week, my laptop that I use at my desk, all of a sudden the spacebar key just decided it didn't want to work anymore. Everything else on the keyboard works, but it's amazing how much you need that spacebar key. So I can't really do any editing, additional text editing in my episodes right now until we figure something out. So those are the winners, Tammy Nichols and Donna Welch. Congratulations. Please contact me through a Ravelry and I will send you a copy of that pattern. Just on that note as well, with the keyboard issue, if you've noticed that in the Ravelry group I'm not posting as much or I'm not responding to YouTube comments as quickly, that's part of the reason. It's just harder for me to get on my phone to do those things, and that's where I have to do it. Otherwise, all the words would be jumbled together and you guys wouldn't want to read it anyway. So hopefully we will have a solution to that shortly, but for now, it's just going to take me longer to get around to those things because I have to kind of do a workaround. So that's all the kind of admin things, and let's get into the knitting now. So I'm going to start with my 2 finished objects, and originally I was just planning on having the one finished, and then I think I was going to work on the other one, but this was such a fast project that once I finished the first one, I just decided to get the second one done as well. And I am talking about the crochet octopus that I was working on or planning to start for the baby set that I am working on. I am currently trying to put together a little boy baby set and a little girl baby set. We do not know the gender of the baby. And I was going to start with the girl octopus and then eventually get to the boy octopus, but like I said, it was just such a fast little project that I decided to get both done. So they are pretty much done. I was going to ask you guys if you think I should put a face on them or not. Right now they are faceless. I'm okay either way. I think with the texture of the yarn, a face, like a little embroidered face, might not show up as well. But this is the first one I did. So this is the crochet octopus. The yarn that I used is, it's a premier yarn. I forget what it's called. But I've mentioned it before. And it's just like a chenille, it's just a very soft chenille bulky yarn. So this is the girl one, and I've got the little hats here that I finished previously. So this is the little girl hat. So these 2 will be going together, and I might be making one other piece for the baby set, but I think those look really, really cute together. And then after I finished this took less than a day. I decided to get started on the boy octopus. So here's the little boy octopus, and again, here's the little baby hat that it would go with the set, and I think that coordinates really nicely as well. So yeah, this project is the Cuddly Crochet Octopus or something. It is a free pattern, and it is really, really, really simple. Now, I did modify the way that I constructed it just to make it easier for me, and I did write out pretty detailed notes on the project page of in Ravelry, the project page for these 2 toys. I did put pretty like detailed notes. So basically what the pattern has you do as written is you start with all these little legs, and mine didn't turn out as curly as they did in other projects, and I'm wondering if it's just the type of yarn that I used. It's just maybe a little heavier, or just the softness of it. It didn't allow it to like really curl up, but I think these will still be fun for the baby to touch and hold. I'm okay with it. I didn't feel like fiddling around and trying to get it to do like the really spiraled curls, but the pattern has you start with the legs, and you basically do 4 pieces that have kind of like 2 legs on each. So you crochet a certain number of chains and then go back along that chain with single crochets, actually 2 crochets in each chain. That's what's supposed to give it the kind of spiral. And then when you get back to the top, you do another chain and go back so that each piece has 2 legs to attach to it. So you do that 4 times so that you have a total of 8 legs. And then what you're supposed to do is put those legs aside and do the head. And the head is written to be done in 2 pieces, so 2 circular pieces working in the round that you then sew together to create the round head. And then after that, you sew on all the little legs. And that just felt like a lot of unnecessary assembly to me, so I tried to figure out a way that I could do it, that there just wouldn't be as many pieces to put together, so that it would be a little bit kind of like all in one. So I did do the legs as written, the 4 sets of 2. I put those aside. But before I put those aside, and then I started the head in the round. So if you've done enough kind of amigurumi toys, they all pretty much start out the same. You kind of do a little loop, a chain, and you join it in a loop, and then you start working in the round in a very rhythmic pattern. So you usually go, single crochet in one, and then 2 single crochets in the next one, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. So you're increasing the next rows. You do 2 single crochets, and then like 2 separate single crochets, and then an increase in the next one, and you just kind of keep increasing in that way. So that's what I did. I did a larger starting circle than usual, and then I increased in that fashion. And when I got about halfway up, I had kind of like a little cup. What I did is I put all the strands, the kind of the starting and ending strands of the legs, I held those together. I tied them all together so that the legs were kind of like this little group, and I fed those strands through the starting circle of the head. I then used the strand that came from starting the head to kind of stitch in the legs in place, and just kind of secure them a little bit. But ultimately, all the extra strands from the starting and ending of the legs were now part of the stuffing of the head. So once those legs were in there and I had them secured, I did a couple of rows, just straight single crochet, and then I started the decreases kind of the opposite way of your increases. So I had a head in the round, I had the legs already in there. It didn't take that long, just kind of go around the edges and secure the legs. The legs are not going to be able to be pulled off. That was the other thing. The way it was originally written, where you're just kind of sewing the legs on after, I could just see with where that may be coming undone, especially with this kind of soft yarn. And this way, like, I know they're in there. They are secure. They are in there. These legs are not coming off. And then again, the head was done in one piece, so I didn't have to sew two pieces together and seam around the edge. And it just ended up being a pretty quick, straightforward little project. And like I said, easily done in a day. If you're looking for a very quick baby gift, just go out and get some like really soft, bulky yarn, and you can get one of these going in no time. So again, I said earlier that I did not put faces on them. What do you think? Should I put faces on them, or should I leave them as is? I know the baby won't care, so I'm just curious about what you guys think, face or no faces. But those are done, and that with the hat, I'm pretty happy as kind of a little starter set. I'm kind of on the fence about if I want to do the cuddle sacks. That was another project that I plan to kind of put with these little sets. And basically it's just because I have the yarn. I have lots of the pink yarn, and then I have some black chenille yarn, and I thought cuddle sacks would be cute just for some initial pictures. But I'm just not really motivated to knit them. I don't know. So we'll have to see if I feel like starting those. But for now, I'm happy with having an octopus and a little newborn hat ready to go. So those are my finished objects. Next, we're going to go into what I've been working on and the progress that I've made. And we are going to start with my February Desert Vista Dye Work socks. And I have made some really good progress on these. I'm absolutely not worried about finishing these by the end of the month. Last episode I showed you the first sock, which was this one here, and I had just started the toe decreases, so I knew either that day or the next day I would easily finish the first sock, and I did. And I was able to start the second sock. I think we went to my mom's that weekend. I was able to start the second sock, and I've been working on it pretty consistently. There was a couple of days this week where I got distracted by some other projects that I wanted to work on, but I knew I was at a place that I could do that and then get back to it. So I'll show you where I am on the second sock in a moment. So this colorway is Lions and Tigers and Bears. I am knitting these as a Christmas gift pair for one of my brothers who just kind of likes those colors. I think these will suit him. He has seen it. He does like it. For socks that I knit for men, I start with 72 stitches. I do a 2x1 rib. I knit just plain stockinette. I did my triangular shaped heel, and between the in the area that you do the increases for the heel, I did it in the reverse stockinette so you can see the purl stitches. And then I just keep going. You do your decreases and then down the foot. I did mention last time how I didn't do any yarn management after you joined in the round to keep the stripes in the right sequence, so there is a little bit of a color jog there, but it didn't bother me. And basically that was just because by the time I was finished the heel, a brand new stripe was starting, so I just didn't feel like cutting the yarn and finding the next place and then rejoining. I was okay with it just being the stripes being a little out of order there. So this is the first sock, And here I am on the second sock. So you can kind of see how much further I have to go. I probably have a few more stripes and then I can start the decreases on the toe, and I could do this in a day if I wanted to. I could finish this today if I wanted to, but I don't know, I might be working on other things. We'll have to see. I will have to do the editing and uploading for this episode. That does take time, but I'm absolutely not worried about finishing this. Even if I didn't touch it at all today and I had to finish it tomorrow, I am not worried about finishing it. I know that I can do a whole foot on the last day of the challenge and still finish before midnight, so this won't be a problem. So I just have a little bit more to go. You will notice that I did the thing that I usually like to do, where for the second sock, before I started, I rewind the cake so that the stripes are going in the opposite direction. And I did purposely start the second sock with the same starting colors, so that kind of light or darker cream, and then you'll see how the stripes kind of are reversed, and I just really like doing that. I just think it's something fun to do. And this one as well, I did not do any yarn management after I finished the heel, because again, it ended up where it started right at a new stripe. So I think this one might be a little less obvious than that one. I don't know, but anyway, my brother won't care. So yeah, these are absolutely going to be done for the end of the month, which is so nice. It's so nice having a month that I am not worried about whether I am going to finish or not. I am absolutely not worried about these socks. So that is the progress on my Desert Vista Fabric socks. And then the next project I have is also one that you saw last episode that I have added some progress to. And that is the baby vertebrae that I am working on for my newborn sweater. I want to have one newborn sweater ready to go for those first few weeks, because everything else, if I end up knitting any other patterns, they're probably going to be more like the 3-month size. Any knitwear that I have from before, if I can use it, it's going to be bigger sizes, so I wanted to have one newborn sweater. And so I've been working on the newborn vertebrae, and the last time I showed this to you, I had just taken off the stitches for the sleeve. So I was basically right there, and I think I had maybe 1 or 2 rows done after the separation, and that is it. I have finished the body since then, and I've also finished the ribbing along the collar here. So the body is done, and all I have to do now is pick up the stitches for the sleeves and add the little sleeves. I am planning on doing, I think, a really long, probably even longer than the back hem here. I'm planning on doing a long ribbed cuff on the sleeves, just to see if I can get, you know, a little extra, maybe a few extra weeks out of this, since it is newborn size and they grow so quickly. I did mention last episode how one of the things I did was do, I think, maybe 2 more increased rows before separating for the sleeves, so that the sleeves would be just a tiny bit bigger and the back would be just a tiny bit bigger. And then I think if I do the sleeves with a longer ribbed cuff that I can roll up at first, that might also give me just a couple of extra weeks. Since it is an open cardigan, I don't have to worry about it really closing. It's just going to kind of sit on there. So this is almost done, and I am really happy with how this colorway knit up. This is a skein that I won from participating in one of the year-long challenge that Dana from Dana of Unwind Yarn Company puts out, or does every year. She is doing it again this year. So this is one of the skeins that I won, and I just thought it would be a really nice gender neutral color, and I think it is. I would be totally okay with putting this on a boy or a girl. I love the kind of minty green and the pops of red and these like kind of deep olivey mustard colors popping through. So I am really happy with how this is working up. It's not too splotchy, it's nicely speckled. I think it's going to be really cute, especially after it has a nice little blocking and pressing, because the edges are a little wrinkly. So I don't think the sleeves will take me very long. It's quite possible by the next time I record that will be done, which will be so exciting, because I think that's pretty much, there's one other project that I will actually show you in a minute that I would like to have done before the baby comes, but this is pretty much the main things, was the baby hats and the baby octopus, and then this newborn sweater. Other than that, any other project from here on in is kind of a bonus. And that's kind of it. Oh no, there's one other thing that I'll also talk about in a minute that I want to have done before the baby comes. But otherwise, I feel like I'm pretty good. I've got mostly what I want done, and I think the 2 projects that I want to have also finished before the baby comes, I should be able to finish. So yeah, it's gonna be, it's kind of a relief. I feel like we're getting there. Now, in terms of everything else we need for the baby, don't get me started on that, because I was telling Dennis, I'm like, we basically have a month. I'm doing a bit more than a month, but in a month, so a month from like now, we should be like ready to go, because you know, babies are unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. Thankfully, my aunt did come this week and paint the baby's room, so I have got that started. I do need to get a shelf so that I can start bringing in like all the stuff from when Avery was a baby, like organizing baby toys, baby books, and get that stuff. Right now there's just nowhere to put them in the room, so I can't work on that. So I do need to get that done, but at least we've got a start, and then very soon I want to go out and I want to pick up those just initial things like, you know, diapers and stuff like that to have on hand, so that we have that going on. And then there's one other thing I need to set up, but I will talk about that with one of the projects that I'm going to talk about. So let's see, we've got the socks done, we've got the baby vertebrae we've talked about. So I think now we are going into the new project that I started, and then we will do the upcoming projects that I might have started by the next time I sit down and have a chat with you. So my new project, I wasn't planning on starting this week, but I think it was yesterday. Pretty sure I started it yesterday. I just wanted to sit down, and I just felt like starting it. So I decided to do that. I knew it would be a quick project. It's actually something that is on my bingo card as a solo square. So if I finish this, that's 1 square blocked off, and I am slowly starting to make a little dent in my bingo card. I think next episode, because 2 months will have passed, I might do a little bingo card update and see where I am. But this is a project that will complete a square. So I was like, you know what? It's going to be a fast project. It completes a square on my bingo card. It's something I want to have done for the baby. Let's just start it. So I did. So I had this yarn here in my stash. Let's see, the Bravo Big Color, and it's by that company there, which I am not going to try and say right now. But I have 4 skeins of this, and it's really thick, dense. It's quite tightly plied, and it's a bulky yarn. I bought this a couple of years ago for another project, but the gauge was just not going to work out. So it's kind of been sitting, and I've kind of been waiting for something that I can make with it. And I thought the colors would work really well for kind of the whole gender neutral baby thing. I like that it's not like a yellow. Like, this is more kind of a bright neon greeny yellow, and this isn't completely mint. It's kind of a minty aqua. And then the gray, I don't think I mentioned, but we painted the baby room gray because I figured that way, either depending on whether it's a boy or girl, I can kind of accent with different colors. I'm really happy with the color. At some point on Instagram, I'll probably post an updated picture of how things are looking. Dennis says it's a boy color. Poo-poo to Dennis. I think it will be really nice, like with pinks and lavenders for a girl, or like with greens and aquas, or you know, whatever. But I think depending on how it's accented, it's going to end up looking really pretty. But yeah, because this has gray in it, I think it will complement the room nicely when it's eventually used there. So this is what I have so far, and it's just basically going to be a crochet rectangle, kind of like the cat mat that I made for Mr. T. I'm doing it in the same way. I think I started with a chain that was slightly bigger than the cat mat. So with the cat mat, I chained 50 and then just worked until my yarn ran out. I think with this one, I chained 55, and then I'm just doing single crochets, and I'm going to keep working until the yarn runs out. So I just started right here. You can see the strands. I'm into the second ball. I have 4 balls. I thought I had more than that, but it turns out I only have 4 balls. So I'm not sure how much additional, like I don't know if this is going to be the width or if this is going to be the length, depending on how much height I get with the 4 balls that I have. But my plan is I'm using an 8mm hook on this. The yarn calls for a 10mm, so the fabric is really, really dense. And I'm not planning on using this as a blanket, so it doesn't need to be soft and squishy. I want this kind of like a mat. And the first way I'm planning on using it is in our living room. We have kind of a very large upholstered ottoman that we have there, and we kind of put things on it. The cat likes to sit on it, and I'm planning on rearranging the furniture a little bit. I know for the first 2 weeks, from my experience with Avery, for the first little while, I could not get in and out of bed. It was very difficult for me. I had a C-section with her, and so for the first 2 weeks, I'm planning on just living downstairs and on the where Dennis promised me we're going to be replacing our really, really old couch with one that has reclining seats, and I'm planning on basically living on that couch, and it's going to be right next to this big ottoman. So this ottoman is going to be baby central with just everything that I need. If I need to put the baby down to get up, it's big enough and it's padded enough that I can do that. But I want to make this mat to go on top of it, just for any kind of messes or spills or anything, so that this can be washed, because the ottoman, obviously I cannot, it's going to be more difficult to clean the surface of that. So its first purpose is basically going to be kind of a mat for this ottoman to just put things on for the first couple weeks, and then eventually when I move back upstairs and the baby can sleep in the cradle that we have, and then eventually the crib, I could use this maybe on the floor as a mat to put the baby on there. But it's going to be more of a mat, so I didn't mind that it was going to be more dense versus airy. So again, I'm planning on just using the yarn that I have and going up as far as it will go. And then I was thinking it might be nice to find, I might look through my stash, I'm not sure if I have anything, but I might go out and get just one ball of a bulky gray yarn and do an attached I-cord edging on this. I think this edged in a nice gray cord might just finish it off really nicely and kind of pick up on the gray in the yarn. Also eventually, because the room is gray, it will look nice in there. But that's basically how this is going, and like I said, I did all of this yesterday along with a little bit of the second ball. So I think today I'm really going to try and focus on the socks just to get those done. But when I can spend time on this again, I know it's going to go pretty quickly. I know I could get easily a ball done per day, a ball and a bit done per day, so within a few days this should be done. And then it's just a matter of seeing if I have some gray in my stash, or if I'm going to have to go out and purchase a ball of gray to do the I-cord edging, because I just think that will look really, really nice on it. So the final thing I have to talk about this week is the projects that I'm hoping to either start or work on. And last episode, I had said I was hoping to work on my micro stripe socks as well as my granny stripe blanket. I didn't get any work on those done, but I'm thinking I'm going to work on my micro stripe socks this weekend. We are going to my mom's again tomorrow because we're celebrating my brother's birthday. If I finish my Desert Vista Dyeworks socks today, tomorrow is still the part of February, so I can't start my March socks yet, so it will be a good opportunity to bring another pair to work on. So I'm hoping to get some work done on that. And then I also didn't touch my granny stripe blanket. I think that's going to be a really good project. I'm not going to worry about it right now if I don't get to it, because I think it'll be a good project, again, to keep on that ottoman next to me when I'm stuck in the chair for who knows how long. And when I have those moments where I can work on something, I think that's going to be a really easy project just to kind of pick up and crochet a little bit on, because I don't have to worry about dropping stitches. I don't have to worry about anything complicated in terms of a pattern. I can probably work on it with the baby sleeping on me. So I think that's going to be a really good one just to keep by that area and just pick up as I can. So I will get to it. I will get back to Granny Stripe. I really want to finish it this year, but I just didn't work on it this past 2 weeks when I wanted to. So going forward for the next week or so, the things that I know I'm going to start for sure are my March Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. And I've kind of picked out a color. It's between two. So I have two in my stash. And I think if you saw these without the label, you would think they were the exact same skein. They look so similar. This is the two here. This one here is Zom Dragon, and this one is Sea Zombuddy or Zombuddy. What is this? Sea Zombuddy. So this is based on Little Mermaid Ursula, and this is based on some sort of dragon picture. But do they not look like the exact same skein? I think this one has just a tiny bit more purple in it, but otherwise they are so similar. So I don't need to make both of these for myself. So one of these is going to be a gift pair. And I've decided, like last year, I'm trying to get as many of my gift pairs done earlier in the year so that they are done, and then in the latter part of the year I can focus on making more socks for myself because I just really enjoy wearing my socks now. So I am going to pick one of these. I'm not sure which one yet, but I'm going to pick one of these for March, and it is going to be for Avery's teacher. So I have made her now, I think, 2 pairs of socks. Last year, she got a pair in June for the end of the year, and then she also got a pair for Christmas. And I had asked Avery, I was like, oh, can you please ask your teacher if she enjoys wearing the socks? Because it's one thing, because Avery was just like, oh yeah, she likes them. When she opens them, she's all like, oh, I love these socks, and she puts them on, she likes them. And I was like, well, it's one thing, when you're opening a gift to say how much you like something, but it's another thing to actually wear them and use them and like enjoy wearing them. So I didn't think she was going to remember, but she's a little elephant. She does remember. Even when she says, oh, you should write it, or, Mommy, just email the teacher and ask, she'll remember, and she did. So she did ask the teacher one day if she likes wearing her socks, and her teacher was like, I was just wearing a pair the other day. So I know she does wear them, so I think I feel pretty good about making her another pair. And I think, again, because these colors are so similar, I'm going to pick one of these to make for my March socks for her for the end of the year. And then those are done, and I don't have to worry about a gift for her other than maybe adding a few bits and pieces after, because as we know, baby comes, things are going to be crazy. I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to get done. So I like the idea of getting these done now and not having to worry about them in June. So those are definitely going to be cast on by the next time. Another project that might be cast on, but I do want to start soon, this is the other project that I really want to have done before the baby comes, is some baby knee socks. So I have this pattern in my queue that I have made before. Many years ago I participated in baby swaps where you would send hand knit garments to new moms who maybe didn't have time to knit, and then in return you would get a package of like yarn and goodies. And I made these knee socks for one of my partners in that, and I remember it being a really fun project. Like, just the construction of them was really fun, and I felt like it would be a very practical item because it is like, it covers the whole leg, and it's just a lot of times booties, like little booties and little socks will come off. I just felt like this would be something fun, and I really wanted to just make the pattern again. So I think this is how much yarn I have still from the newborn vertebrae. There's quite a bit here. I don't think the sleeves are going to take very much yarn. So I'm going to have to see how many grams I have left when I'm finished and how many grams the knee socks say they need, and I might end up doing a little matching pair of baby knee socks in this yarn to go with the baby vertebrae. There is one change that I'm thinking of making to that pattern. I'm going to have to see how it's constructed, but I was thinking to get just that little bit more use out of them, I might try and modify the foot a bit so that it's open, so that I don't have to worry about the baby outgrowing the foot part. It can just kind of like, I can layer it over other baby socks, and that might help keep those on too. So that's something I'm kind of considering, but it's quite possible that once I finish the newborn vertebrae, and I know how much yarn I have left, that I might cast on those knee socks, because that is something I'd like to have done as well. So yeah, that is basically what I have for you this week, what I finished, what I worked on, what I have upcoming. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week. We'll see how long it is before I sit down and chat with you again, and I will talk to you soon.